So let's answer this question. Why is the sky blue? The main thing is it is because of dispersion. Let's begin with the first fact. The scattering is inversely proportional to the wavelength of the light. That is, a light of higher wavelength will be scattered the least and vice versa. So let me revise the wavelength concept again. This is your x and y axis. This is a single wavelength. So this is distance. This is an example of a single wavelength. So there's a theorem which tells that the scattering is inversely proportional to wavelength of the light, where n is the power of lambda, where lambda is your wavelength. From here till here is your wavelength. Okay, so this is fact number 1. Second fact, in VibGuyor, so this is listed from lower wavelength to higher. So violet has the lowest wavelength while red has the highest wavelength. Red has a wavelength which is almost 2 times that of the blue. So compared to blue, red is almost 1.8 times. Okay, so if I happen to represent the spectrum, okay, let me write it a bit below. So if I happen to represent along the x-axis the spectrum of visible light, with violet to red, and say this is your wavelength. So violet will have a certain length, and the red has the double of it almost, and this is your diagram. Okay, along this length you have VI, BG, YOR. So these 2 facts, right, keeping these 2 facts in mind, what can we conclude? Thus, when sunlight passes through atmosphere, the fine particles in the air scatters the blue light more than red light. So, and that's why we see blue sky. Okay, so we'll be answering few other atmospheric questions. Why is the sky red during sunset and sunrise? All that we'll answer. But I hope you guys understood this very clearly. You need to understand what is the wavelength first, and you need to understand that inversely proportional. What does it mean? Next, you need to understand about VibGuyor, that the violet has the lowest wavelength while red has the highest wavelength. So if this length is x, this is 2 times of x approximately. And what can we conclude with all of this? That the blue scatters the most while the red scatters the least. You might have a question, why not violet and indigo? There are 2 facts. This is extra for your knowledge. Our eye is more sensitive to blue, first thing. Second thing is our sun, it emits more blue light than violet and indigo. Compared to all of this, it emits more blue light. So with all of this reason in mind, all of this extra facts, you can tell that violet and indigo scatters less because there is less of it, and our eye is also sensitive to blue. So with all of this reason combined, we have sky which is looking blue. So now pause and copy it off.